Hello and welcome to an absolutely beautiful spring morning here in equally beautiful Nova Scotia. Blue skies, there's a few clouds around, bit of a nip in the air, but lovely sunshine. Just outside the peepers were peeping and the birds singing. Lovely at this time of year, all trying to look for a mate. I'm in here in the greenhouse at the moment actually, just trying to pot up a few of these tomato seedlings that are growing strongly here at the moment, ready to be potted up into sort of single pots for me. And I'm doing this on April 22nd, very important day in the year. Yes, it's my birthday. No, there is obviously another reason why it's you know, a very important day, World Day, other than my birthday. It's Earth Day, celebrating our wonderful planet and, you know, all the beautiful things about it. And one of the things, a lot of the things that people are, you know, obviously concentrating on nowadays is how to save our planet. Whether you believe in global warming or not, there is something happening, and the scientists are saying that if we do a certain amount of things, cut down on doing a certain amount of things, we might help the Earth. I tend to believe in science and none of this other mumbo jumbo. Science is good enough for me. So I thought today I would share with you a few of the things that I try to do to sort of help cut down on the things that we shouldn't do, i.e. Keep using loads of plastic and chucking it away, doing things that cause buying things that have lots of miles on them, for instance compost, etc. Can I make my own compost rather than buying compost that's A, in a plastic bag, B, it's probably travelled miles, so therefore there's lots of, you know, petrol, gas, whatever you want to call it, miles on that purchase. Reusing things as much as is possible. So I thought today I would go through a few of those things that I do in my little way to try and help the planet and sort of advertise it today on Earth Day. You know, we all, whatever ups and downs we have, whatever beliefs we have, we all love our planet, and you know, nothing better in this world than being alive, and especially, well, and I especially want to leave something, you know, beautiful for my boy to live in. So a few of the things that I do in my small way, and if we all do all our little small ways, we can have one great big way to help save the planet. But a few of the things that I do, again, first things up, pots, and trying to reuse plastic. Now, I don't believe in this modern age that I can get away with not using plastic at all. So therefore, I've got to try and use plastic as wisely as possible. You know, recycle it, reuse it, not buy it if I can get away with not buying it. So what do? Well, so these were pots that were bought for my boy's birthday, for a party he had, and instead of chucking them away, etc., like people do, what I do is I reuse them now as plastic planting pots. And as you can see here, I've got loads of tomato seedlings growing away happily in these pots, and I will continue to reuse them as much as is possible over the years until they're, you know, completely and utterly worn out. So two things there: I've reused these pots instead of them being chucked away, and number two, I have, instead of you know, I haven't bought new plastic pots which A, are, you know, plastic, and B, have more miles on them. So I'm reusing these pots as much as possible. So reuse things that you use in the kitchen to maybe use in the garden. So I've got these plastic pots, partial to a bit of hot chicken, the old hot chicken from the shop. And instead of chucking the pots away, what an absolutely fantastic little greenhouse they make. And these have got some purple basil seeds in them. So this was fantastic in getting them germinate, and I've got them in the greenhouse now, so it's still cool here in Nova Scotia, but I put this on every night and sometimes cover it a bit more. But a fantastic little seedling propagator greenhouse for lots of different plants. I've got lots of different things. I've got some grasses that are growing in there, some millet, some other tomatoes, all sorts of different things. I've got onions down there I've got growing in them. So instead of chucking these away, what a fantastic little greenhouse that is. Just drill some holes in the bottom. What else have we got? Plastic yoghurt cartons. So obviously the carton is a great little pot I can use for my veg when I'm growing them on. Just drill some holes in the bottom, and the lid, instead of chucking the lid away, I cut them up and use as labels. Absolutely perfect. So that is a good thing. Now, cardboard is a fantastic resource we can use in the garden. So we have a voila. These are the pea seeds I sowed the other week, and I have them in the old toilet rolls, or this I think is a long one, so that's part of some sort of foil kitchen towel holder type thing. But make yourself a little pot out of them. I think I've put a video up there that shows how to make your little pots out of toilet rolls. But any sort of pea or bean, absolutely fantastic little plant pot for your seedlings here, because they like a nice root run. And all I've got to do is, when I plant these out, make sure they're nice and wet when I plant them out, put them straight in the ground, and Bob's your uncle. The seeds, as you can see here, not the seeds, the roots will start to grow out of the bottom. And then this cardboard will rot itself down and feed the earth. Superb, cheap, and very useful. So there we go, reusing cardboard. I've got more reuses for cardboard I'm going to come to in a moment. My next recycling pot type thing is my pallets. So I've got these, made this little seed tray out of a pallet, as you can see, and again there is a video up there on how I do it, but I've got it there. I've got these ones here, nice little small ones that I'm making. I've got various different size ones, and as your pallets, and obviously you want to use pallets that are not chemically treated. And in my video that I showed up there on how to make these little seed trays, it tells you, what sort of pallets to use. Just make sure you don't use chemically treated ones. But a lot of pallets are hardwood. So again, that's fantastic. These will last me absolutely years. And all I did was put a few little nails in there, and another free resource. Reusing pallets. What else have I got pallets? So down here, I've made some bigger pots. I've got some tulips in here that I've made out of this pot. Great reuse of pallets. Pallets are absolutely fantastic. As you know, if you've watched a few of my videos, I love doing different bits and bobs with pallets. So, the seed trays, pots. I've made a bar out of pallets. But my piece de resistance with pallets is obviously my greenhouses. This greenhouse is, I would say, half made of pallets. So all the base of this greenhouse is pallets. The base sides, the raised beds are all made of pallets. Both sides, and at the back there, this bench is a bit of a pallet. All the benches around the side are pallets. And my greenhouse down the bottom is again all made of pallets, other than the plastic I've had to use for the roof, etc. So pallets are an absolutely fantastic resource you can use in the garden to make all sorts of things, and also compost. So my compost bins, they're a bit scruffy, like I haven't made them particularly well. I'm going to redo them, do a really good job on making some Gucci looking compost bins. But again, just roughly there, pallets there again, being used in the garden to make my compost. And as we are talking about compost, there we are again. Making your own compost. There are lots of ways we can help the earth by making our own compost. So obviously if you make your own compost, that is not travelling any distance. There are no chemicals in that other than whatever you put in there. Everything should really be organic about that soil, that compost that you make for your garden. It's not coming in on delivery trucks, so there's no petrol gas miles on there. It's not got any plastic in it. You know, these are old bags, compost bags that I've used, and now they hold my own compost and leaf mould, etc. So that is the good thing about making your own compost. You know what's really in that soil. You know it hasn't travelled miles and polluting the atmosphere. You also know that it's got no peat in it, and peat is one of the main things we obviously don't want to be using in the garden anymore because of the way that it is not environmentally friendly. When you harvest peat, it releases. So peat bogs are a massive carbon sump. You know, all this rots down and it traps carbon gases, all the different gases in the earth. Once you start to harvest, break up those peat bogs, you are releasing all of these greenhouse gases into the earth. So that is number one why it's not environmentally friendly. Then obviously you've got the miles that it costs in petrol, etc., to get that peat to wherever to the plant where it's being made, to your doorstep, etc. So there's loads of the reason why that is massively environmentally friendly, as well as destroying beautiful habitats for nature. So that compost again is fantastic, being made in your own garden. Also leaf mould, which I use here. Look at that, that is absolutely superb. So that is made from 2-year-old leaves. I just pile the leaves up in a corner. In a couple of years they all break down, and they break down a bit differently to actual compost, but they break down, and then I sieve it and I have absolutely perfect light crumbly leaf mould compost that is great for your seedlings. And again there, no miles on it, no, you know where it's come from, it's straight from the earth. Great recycling of everything that's around you. So that is compost. So another thing I use cardboard for, so loads of things that you get, big TVs. I've just redone my bathroom, so the bath came in a massive great big cardboard box, and the panels that are that go around the bath to make the shower thing, they come in massive great big cardboard boxes, and I could send them off to the recyclers and that they will be recycled that way. But a good way I can use cardboard like that, as well as things like this sort of cardboard, I can use it in the no dig sort of way in creating a new flower bed. And what I do is I lay the cardboard down straight on the ground, and then that cardboard will kill all the weeds that are and grass, etc., that's on the ground there. And then I put compost on top of that cardboard, and then after a year or so, that cardboard will break down, all the microorganisms will bring that cardboard into the soil, and so all the weeds underneath that cardboard will have broken down and rotted down and made great nutrients for the soil. The cardboard will have broken down, and it will also have obviously killed off all the weeds. So then you've got great soil underneath the soil that you've made, and you've made a nice new bed without having to break your back by digging it all over, which is definitely a bonus here in Nova Scotia. Any of you that have watched my videos know that we are rock city here, so it's always good to be able to make a new bed without digging it all up. So cardboard, great way of recycling that by using that as a mulch to kill off the weeds when you're creating a new bed. So I have a stables just down the road from me, and I go down there and get horse manure, and you know, that's fantastic stuff, horse manure. I put that in my compost, and I know there's a couple of miles on it obviously, but you know, that is a great resource, bringing all that in, and that helps supercharge my compost. But when I go down there, the lady at the stables, she has all of these feed bags, and she said, do I want them? And they're always handy, you know, it's always handy to have that sort of thing. And I thought, again, recycling, what I could do with them, and what I have done with them, is I fill them with compost or seaweed, which is another one of my sort of secret supercharging techniques that I use to sort of supercharge my compost. And I grow potatoes. I grew potatoes in these last year, and I thought it was an absolutely roaring success. So using these sort of feed bags, put some holes in the bottom to make sure that the water goes through, but they acted as a fantastic grow bag for tomatoes. So you know, you can grow any sort of things in here really, but tomatoes, potatoes even. So reusing these feed bags as grow bags ended up being a great idea, even if I do say so myself. So there we go. I think that's just a few different ideas of the way that I try as much as is possible to recycle materials around me, that I can get hold of, that, you know, would just be chucked away, would end up probably being in some sort of dump, laying underground and scarring the earth. The point being, trying to reuse that stuff, trying to cut down on the greenhouse gases as much as is possible. I'm not, I don't think I'm virtue signalling or anything like that. I'm just trying to do my little bit, and hopefully maybe a few of those are... Oh, here's another one. Look, water bottles. I forgot about that. Water bottles. So, because we're on a well here, we haven't got very good water, so we have to get water bottles in quite often. And I reuse water bottles quite a bit actually. So here I've filled it with water, and I have them around the greenhouse, and the sun heats up that water during the day, and then in the evening, when it's a bit cooler at this time of year, the warmth that has been created in those bottles just releases itself out into the air just around it. And I've got them here around my tomato seedlings, and it just creates that little microclimate around the seedlings just to keep, you know, them not too cold. So that's really good. I also use them, cut the bottoms off, and I use them as mini greenhouses, both inside and outside, and put them over the plants just to you know, create a bit of a cloche, so create that microclimate again, just to keep that frost off them at this early time of year. So I think that definitely is it this time. So there we go. Happy Earth Day. Any ideas that you guys have, would love to hear them down in the comments below. Always looking at trying to find new ways of reusing things, etc. So, happy Earth Day, be lucky, and jobs are good.